just gonna say it. I love road trips. I mean, I've been doing them since 2015, and not just weekend trips, like multi-week trips. I think our longest one was like a month. I love it. But when I talk to people who don't really enjoy road trips, it's not so much the trip itself, it's the prep around it. And I get that. And long vacations too, it's the same thing. So I have come up with a system, and I'm gonna share it with you because I think this is gonna really help people get ready and really enjoy their time on the road. So my system starts at least a month out from departure date. And I know it sounds a little crazy, hear me out. The more time you have to prep, the more prepped you will be. I'm sorry, that sounds like some lame motivational poster. Oh, but wait a minute, hang on. Fitting with a t-shirt like this, I guess. Yeah, I give you permission to read. Especially if you have a life or a family or a job, you know, like trying to cram everything into a couple of days before you leave, it's just a recipe for disaster and total overwhelm. 4+ weeks out, here's what you do. First things first, where are you going? Do you need documentation to get there? Like, do you need a passport? Are you going somewhere where you need visas? Do you need to get vaccinations? Do your dogs need to have vaccination? As we learned recently, going across borders might change. Giving yourself plenty of time to do that, and generally, most vaccinations have to be done more than 30 days before your cross date. Get on that. Do you need medications? Sometimes those take a little bit longer. You might need to get an appointment in to see a doctor, get a prescription. That is one of the biggest things. I mean, really, you can forget pretty much everything with the exception of your documents and any prescriptions. Everything else, it'd be a hassle, but you can get on the road. It just might cost a little bit more. Speaking of cost, set up your tents, set up all your gear, lay it out, go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Does anything need to be repaired? If it can't be repaired, does it need to be replaced? This way you have plenty of time to look for suitable replacements, maybe better replacements, and maybe better prices, especially if you're at like an end of season sale. Mint, get on that. Do you need home care? Either setting up a house sitter or you're gonna have friends check in your place. I like to have 2-3 people queued up. I don't need really anyone staying in my house. But I'd be like, hey, week 1 of this month, can you just check in, make sure everything's cool? Week 2, can you check in? I don't have a lot of friends in the area that can just like pop over. So that way, if there's any unforeseen circumstances, like, oh no, I'm sick or I'm going on a vacation or whatever, you have plenty of options to take it, keep an eye on your place. This week is about the food. What I like to do is go over my stock of food from the year before. Is there anything that's gone bad? Those little jam packets that you get at restaurants, notorious for exploding in the bin and getting everything jammy, which is, if you've ever wondered about my obsession with baggies and stuff like that, that's the reason why. It's also a good idea to keep your eye open during the year for sales on shelf stable items. Like, the things you're going to use no matter what, like your ramens, your rice packets, and things like that. And now's a good time to go through your inventory. Do you have enough? Do you need more? What didn't you use last year? What maybe you want to use this year? If you have a new griddle like I do, that's going to change a few of our recipes. We might actually have like real food instead of dried. This year I went a little crazy with the dehydration. I've got dehydrated beans, rice, red lentil pasta, for the extra protein. It's good for you. Peas, corn, tofu, like probably 5 pounds of carrots, which is not just for me. Lily loves them. It's like treats for her. She goes bonkers for it. So of course I'm gonna, do extra for her too. Now is also a good time to look at whether your dogs are going to need clothing. The properly attired bulldog does need to be stylishly dressed. Has your dog put on weight, lost weight? Are they going somewhere it's cold and you're warm right now? Are they going somewhere warm and it's cold right now? Will they need a cooling vest? Giving yourself lots of time does help with that. Does your dog have a comfort item or favorite toy? You definitely want to make sure that you know where that is and keep it from getting destroyed before they go anywhere. Lily has a couple that she loves. Like, one is like a Christmas ornament of a ball. She carries it around with her all the time. The other is a chicken breast. It came in like a little crinkly bucket of chicken with I don't know where the drumstick is, but the breast she goes nuts for. So naturally, we have to have that. And King, who is not a toy dog, loves the Yeti that I got him for his birthday. Yes, I got King a toy for his birthday. He turned 7. He's an old man now. He's allowed to have a toy. That's week 3. Relatively painless. 2 weeks before departure. Dog food. Do you have enough? How much will you need to pack? I always pack more than I think I need in case of spills, or it gets spoiled, or the dogs are just more hungry. If you feed a brand of food that's easily accessible, as in like every pet store has it, it's a lot easier. Like you could literally just bring 1 bag, and then as long as you're going somewhere where you can easily get more. If it's a specialty diet or any kind of like a boutique food, then you got to be really careful that you have enough. Just, be aware of that. And I do it early. Supply chain issues affect everything, and dog food is one of them. Or sometimes, there'll be a delay, or they'll have a sale and they'll be all sold out. If you have someone who's coming to check on the house, or if they're staying there, start prepping up a list of things they need to know. Like if they're staying there, when's garbage day? Is there, 1 week is recycling, 1 week is garbage? What's the insurance information in the, unfortunate event of, a tree falling on the house or something? Who do they contact for utilities? Do you need to set them up to be on an account so that they can make those phone calls? Or are they just gonna call you and you're gonna coordinate it from there? Have that down. And give yourself plenty of time, because you might just go, oh yeah, well here's a number for Hydro. Or where's my internet company? Oh, this is my insurance info. And do that. And if you're leaving someone in charge of your animals, call the vet and say, I might be unavailable, but this person is taking care of my animals. They have my authorization to make any decisions if I'm unavailable. And especially if you're going to be camping in the wilderness, you may not be available for days. Start cleaning out the fridge. This is the part I hate the most. Of all the things, it's the fridge thing. This is when you start finding out, the science experiments from last year, and you have to be more careful about what you're buying at the grocery store, because you want to make sure that what you buy you're going to eat before you leave, unless it's something that you can bring with you, like carrots and celery sticks. There gets that point where all that's left in your fridge is condiments and booze, and you're like, oh. If you have a lawn, figure out the best time to mow it, like one last mow. If you have someone who's coming to check on the house, not quite as important. Make sure they know how to use a lawnmower. 1 week to go. Before we get to that though, I think I may have forgotten to mention eSIMs. If you're going outside of your cell range, so maybe you're going to another country, like when I go into the States, I get an eSIM. Saves you the roaming fees, because those things add up. The other thing is look at when to suspend services like your internet, if you have mail delivery to your door, or if you have any subscription packages that come to your door, anything that that is not going to be used. I mean, obviously, if you have someone coming to stay at your house, don't turn the internet off on them. 1 week to go. Laundry. I know, no one's really favorite thing to do, but it can be a lot, especially if you have bedding and all that, clothes. If you have lots of blankets like I do with the dogs. If you have a sleeping bag, you might need a commercial washer. So spread it all out. Do it throughout the week. Pack up your stuff as you put it into your bins or your backpack, whatever you go, as you go. Start charging your devices. We all have a ton of devices, and if you have multiple batteries and stuff like that, it just takes forever, it seems. So start doing that. And the funny thing is, you might think, I just need my camera. Oh no, my GoPro too. Oh, I have a drone. Oh, my lantern. Oh, my headlamp. So, and if you have a portable battery pack like I do, yeah, start that thing charging too. Get everything charged up before you go. Store them with the cables. Put them in one place. Dedicate one place to put everything, and that way you can just go right to it. Makes things so much easier. While you're dealing with your devices, clear off any storage space. So again, if you're like me, you have a phone that is just full of videos of your dogs. Start clearing them off, and once you clear them off, then you can add your maps, your apps, playlists, podcasts, anything like that. And what's really fun is if you're traveling with people or if you have kids, have everyone create a playlist. And then, you can cycle through each other's playlists or whatever. Especially, again, if you have kids, it's good to engage them and get them involved in the process, and it's fun. Go over your first aid and your road safety kits. Hopefully you haven't used them, which means if you haven't used them, just go through, maybe clean them up. My booster cables always get pulled apart whether I use them or not. At the very least, for road safety kit, have booster cables and a tire inflator. Bare minimum. You can make them as fancy as you want, but I would say have those. Now, you should also have blankets if you're going somewhere cool. I always have blankets, and it's also nice to have a blanket if you gotta crawl underneath the car and not, tear up parts of you and all that. This is the week that you should be taking your car in for an oil change and a check over. And again, I cannot stress enough, mention to your mechanic. I mean, if it's you're doing it, great, good on you, you know what you're looking for. I don't know what I'm looking for. That's why I pay people who are experts. I would rather have that peace of mind and know that, hey, I'm likely not going to break down. Past time I dropped off the car and yeah, they replaced my pads, my brake pads and rotors. They're going to go faster with a trailer, but I would much rather have that little extra hit at the front before I leave than be stranded on the side of the road or worse, right? Give the vehicle a good cleaning. And I know this isn't really an essential part, but I like doing it just to clean the windows because they get covered in drool and dog snot. Forces you to clean out all the extra stuff, like, you know, the receipts and the, you know, ketchup packages and, you know, the napkins. Throw the napkins in the passenger visor. It's a great place for them. Easily accessible and they're out of the way, and then you can still drop down your visor. My friend makes fun of me for that, and now they do it. And it's just nice to have a cleaner car. And, you know, make sure you've got sanitizer and maybe some wet wipes handy for those times when you need sanitizer and or wet wipes, especially if you have dogs, you know, scoop and scoop. If you need currency for where you're going, look at getting that now. I mean, some people are really on top of that and buy it when it's at a good price. I'm not. Day before you leave. Food. Prep and package any food that you're bringing. So maybe celery and carrot sticks, you know, those like snacky types foods. Have them all packaged. If they're in the fridge, have them ready to go. Your fridge should be empty by now, so it'll be convenient. If you're bringing a cooler that requires ice, consider pre-chilling it. So throw some water bottles in the freezer, you know, ahead of time, the day before. Throw the bottles into the cooler. That means that when you dump the ice in the next day, it'll keep your ice for longer. And that's the biggest problem with ice coolers. I hate so much having to fill up with ice. Whatever you can pack into your vehicle or your trailer, do that now. If it's safe, I don't put out any of my valuable stuff until we're ready to go. You know, the electronics and all that really valuable stuff stays in the house with me. Unplug any appliances that you don't need. So your toaster, kettle, a couple of reasons. Protects them in case of power surges, but also, and perhaps more importantly, is a giant middle finger to the hydro company. Even when those appliances aren't being used, they are still drawing power. They call it like phantom power draw. And I don't know about you, but I don't like the fact that like 60% of my hydro bill is delivery and taxes. Anytime that I have the opportunity to stick it to the man, you better believe it. I am sticking it to the hydro company. Take out any garbage, set off any mouse traps, run your dishwasher or run a cleaning cycle in your dishwasher, and same with the washing machine. Just reduce the stink when you come back, especially the mouse traps. You would not believe how much a mouse can smell in a very short period of time. And if you're so inclined, even just sweep up the floor, give it a vacuum, whatever. It is remarkable how much nicer it will be to come back to a clean house, or as clean-ish a house as you can. And yeah, even especially with the dogs, they just make the place so dirty sometimes. It's like I sweep up and I turn around, I'm like, well, there's another dog in fur right there. If you're so inclined. If you're like me and you're really excited, you have that nervous energy, so you'll probably do that. Day of departure. The big day is here. Pack up the last of your valuables, like your electronics, your documents, and make sure you triple check that you have your documents and your prescriptions. Like I said, everything else can be picked up on the road. Those things, a little bit more troublesome. So put your passport, if you have to bring it, in a place where you can easily find it. And that way you are not 3 hours down the road going, oh, did I remember my passport? Trust me, there's no feeling like it. I keep mine in my pocket. So I'm like, okay, all right, it's there. Did I? Oh yeah, it's there. Back your cooler, unplug anything else that needs to be unplugged, including your router, unless you have a friend coming over, and then, you know, don't unplug that. They might not be so happy. Do a couple of checks of the property, make sure that, you know, windows, doors, balconies are all secure. Avoid hiding a key somewhere. That's just asking for trouble. If someone wants in, they're gonna kick in a window. They're gonna kick in a door, whatever. Just don't make it easy for them. Activate any security cameras, any programmed lights. Have fun. That's the biggest part of it. Two things. One, I am going to include in the description my personal road trip checklist so that you can use it for our vacation plan or whatever. You can use it for prepping things for you. It's mark it up, whatever, do whatever you like with it. Hopefully it helps. It helps me just to keep my brain from like jumping all over the place. 2, there are some little hints about where our next trip is. If you catch them, let me know in the comments. Curious to see what your thoughts are. And hopefully I wasn't like too subtle. If you see any value to this, please like, subscribe, share with any of your friends. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I know I say it with every video, including the spiel, and that's because it is true. We'll see you out there. Safe travels. Get some road under your tires. Cheers.